Shabbat shalom, everyone. Shabbat shalom. Thank you, everyone, for being here with me today, this morning. Shabbat shalom, everyone. Hey. Hallelujah. Let me first shout out everybody in the building. All right, so Shabbat Shalom to Sister Natasha. Good to see you in the building. 𝗃𝗶𝗿𝗄. Shabbat Shalom to you. Shabbat Shalom to our moderator, Sister Heart for Serving. Always got everything in the chat. If y'all want to know how to reach us or reach me, is in the chat. You want to be able to be a part of our services, it's in the chat, right? So we got the Sabbath school that starts at 10:30. So already 5 minutes breaking into that. So I gotta get that out the way. So you got the Sabbath school, and it's at 10:30. Service start at 1 o'clock. I'm doing a message today, so. Y'all gonna get a double whammy. For those of y'all that tune in, y'all gonna get some good knowledge from this part right here, and then I'm gonna go even deeper because this year, you know, we're coming from the Haftarah. So we're gonna be dealing with the prophets. So I'm gonna be dealing with the prophet scriptural reading for this passage that we're going to be dealing with today. Again, I want to give you some tidbits and that's what the 𝗃𝗶𝗃𝗃 is all about. So our Sister Heart for Serving has everything right over there. If you just look over there in the chat, you will see everything listed right there in the chat. Amen. Also want to give a shout out to my brother, the next section, Brother Morris from the next session. Shabbat shalom to you, 𝗃𝗄𝗃. That's right. Listen to him. Please like, share, and subscribe. If you've been on here for a while, this is your second, third time checking us out, and you haven't subscribed, just hit the subscribe button. You don't gotta wait for me to try to put stuff out to get it. As long as you hit that subscribe button, it don't charge you anything. It just means that you are now a part of the family, and you will be hearing everything that we're dealing with. You will be right there with us. So that's all it means. You are now part of the family. That's it. So it don't mean you hit subscribe now you gotta pay some money. I don't know if some of y'all fear that, like, if I hit subscribe, that mean I gotta give them some money. That is not what that means. I was cautious like that about a lot of stuff too, right? When I first got on YouTube and all that kind of stuff, like, what does subscribe mean, right? But it just means that you're a part of the family. So now whenever I post anything, like if I just come on live out the blue because something happened, I said, I gotta talk about this right now. I don't got time to make up no thumb tag or no thumbnail picture and all that stuff. I just gotta jump on right now. I would jump on and it would instantly send you a notification saying that my take with Rosh Ya'acob just went live, and you'll be able to see it and know what's going on. Right, so that's the good things about that. Also, another thing I want to point out, we do have Bible study. If it's anything I talk about on this vitamin or anything within the Torah portion or any scripture that you might be questioning in your journey and you like, I ain't never find nobody that can give me an answer to that, every Wednesday, 7:30 every Wednesday. I'm right there live. I'm right there. It won't be on YouTube, so don't look for it on YouTube. It won't be on YouTube, but it will be right here in a Google Meet situation where you can actually talk to me and I can talk to you. And then we got a classroom there, and then they can jump in and we all can chime in on whatever the situation that you're dealing with is. So please take heed to that. 7:30 every Wednesday evening, 7:30. Start off at 7 o'clock with prayer, but then 7:30 we have the Bible study. I also Shabbat Shalom to 𝗪𝗶𝗁𝗁 in the building, as always doing his thing. Shabbat Shalom to 𝗪𝗂𝘀𝗶𝗃. Shabbat Shalom to Sister 𝗪𝗵. Shabbat Shalom to 𝗪𝗂𝘀𝗃. Shabbat Shalom to got the chairman in the building today. Shabbat Shalom to 𝗪𝗂𝘀𝗃. Shabbat Shalom, and also Shabbat Shalom to the pastor. See you in the building. Oh, Shabbat Shalom to Queen Dashika. Shabbat Shalom to 𝗃𝗀𝗄𝗃. Just thank all of y'all for being here with me, and everybody else that may be on the line that didn't say Shabbat Shalom yet, or you might be shy. Shabbat Shalom to you. Now, as you might don't know, but I will remind you, my name is Rosh Ya'acob ben Abraham. I am the rabbi of Gethsemane Spiritual Temple Congregation, and on this show we normally deal with different issues and subjects that's going on. But our mainstay that we've been dealing with as of late is we've been focusing on the Torah Vitamin. The Torah Vitamin is live every 9:30 on the Shabbat. So you don't got to wonder when it's going to happen. Every 9:30 is live on the Shabbat, unless notified that it's not going to be. But every 9:30 is going to be live on the Shabbat. You'll be able to chime in, be able to get some tidbits. And the Torah Vitamin is just that. It's a vitamin. It's just meant to give you some different pieces of the Torah to motivate you and to stimulate your Torah living life. So you'll say, you know what? I want to be able to do these things that the Almighty has set up for me to be able to do. And that's what it's all about. So please, 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 keep that in mind, and because we're not going to be able to go through everything. So even right now, I'm just going to touch on some things. I know I don't talk too much about all the other stuff, so we're just going to jump into this. All right. So today, we're dealing with Parshat Devarim. And Parshat Devarim are the words of Moshe, right? I'm going to explain some things to you about this portion that some of you may have never heard before. And I want to just explain it to you so you guys can get it, right? So, Parshat Devarim. The Torah Portion Devarim is unlike any Torah portion or any book. The book of Devarim itself, right? And the book of Devarim is Deuteronomy, for those of y'all who don't know Hebrew. The book of Deuteronomy itself is one of the most distinctive books in the Bible, in the Torah, right? And you might say, why you say that, Ak? Why you say that, Rosh? What you mean? All the other books in the Torah are written in third person. In other words, it says such and such did this, and he did that, and so did this, and she did this. And it's always like a narrator telling a story about something that took place, and they're narrating something that happened, right? That's what most of the Bible is like you reading the narration of a story, so forth, so on. But the difference with the book of Deuteronomy, with the book of Devarim, is this is Moshe himself talking. I want y'all to get this. Moshe himself is communicating in this portion. So it's not somebody telling you what Moshe thought, somebody telling you what Moshe did, somebody telling you what the Almighty told Moshe to say, so forth. Like you read that throughout the whole Bible says, and the Almighty said to Moshe, and Moshe did this, and Moshe went to the people and said this, right? And it tells you all this stuff. The book of Devarim is his words himself. Is written in first person. He says, I did this. I did that. Now, mind you, I don't think it's any other book of the Bible, and if you know of any, you can put it down in the comment section below, or you can put it in the chat so we can have a conversation, or other people can be notified and you can let me know as well. But I don't believe it's any other book in the whole Bible that's written in first person. The accounts of the Mashiach is third person, right? Where we hear the Talmudim or the disciples telling us stuff about the Mashiach, what the Mashiach did. The Mashiach did it. Is no book where the Mashiach actually says, this is what I did, and this is what I was thinking, and I did this and I did that. Right? All the other prophets. And we read, matter of fact, no, I did you stand corrected a little. No, I don't. Hold on, I had to think about that for a minute. I almost thought about the book of Daniel. So somebody might say the book of Daniel, even in the book of Daniel writing in third person is only when he begins to talk to the angel Gabriel that the conversation changes, and you see this dynamic going back and forth when he has that encounter with the angel Gabriel. But for the most part, so you might get thrown in the book of Daniel, right? But out of the Torah, out of those first 5 books, this one book is Moshe talking himself, right? I'm gonna show you this, right? Let's let me see. Let me switch the screen, Safaria. So I'm gonna show you this, right? Look at right here. Look at what it says, right? Aleha Devarim. These are the words. Aleha Devarim. These are the words Asher Debar, which Moshe spoke. El call Yisrael to all Yisrael. Ba'avar hayarin, on the other side of the Yarden. Ba midvar ba'arva mulsuf bien paran o bien tofel walavan wa kosef wa de zahav. Right? These are the words that Moshe addressed to all Israel across the Jordan, or that's the Jordan, right? In the wilderness, on an Arva plain facing Suf, between Paran and Tofel and Lavan and Kasarot de Zahav, right? Now listen, so it gives us this beginning, it tells us, now this is the only part that seems like it's going to be in third person, but watch this. I want y'all to see where he starts talking. Re'eh nathati. This vowel is let you know this verb conjunction, right? And then with the kurik and the yod, right? This verb conjunction lets you know that this is being spoken in first person. And then we can see it in English as being spoken in first person. Look what it says. See, I said. He says, I. See, I have set the land before you. Come and inherit the land that Adonai, that Yahweh swore to your forefathers, to Abraham, to Yitzhak, to Yaakov, to give them and their descendants after them. Then he goes on, he says, I said to you at that time. So now he's setting up to a time that was said, right? Now, all the part that I didn't read, I'm gonna give y'all another trinket that y'all might never heard before. All the other parts that is up there that you guys where it starts talking about where he was at and so forth. We sort of read that as him trying to give us an idea of where he was at right before he want to tell us everything that transpired when he starts speaking, right? And he says, I did this, I did that. But the sages argue that this is a veiled rebuke. What do I mean by veiled rebuke? All these different places is being named are places where the Israelites messed up at, where they did something wrong. And Moshe is tactfully reminding them of all the things they did up to this point that led to what he's about to say. Because he's about to lay something heavy on them, right? But before he lays that on them, he points out all the stuff they did, right? He addressed them on the other side of the Jordan in the wilderness, right? 𝗵𝗵, right? He points out about the 𝗵𝗵𝗁 and the plain of Suf, right? All is pointing towards the 12 spies and different things that they did, right? And he talks about Barim, Paran, and 𝗃𝗶𝗃, right? And it goes into all these different things. So let me give you an example. All right. And I'm reading this from the Chumash in the commentary. So it says, the entire book of Devarim was spoken by Moshe, which I already explained. I want to get to the veiled rebuke. It was his last will and testament to his beloved people because they were surely confident that they would not succumb to alien or foreign influence and temptations of Canaan, which we know they did. He began his words by reminding them of the long stirring of sins and rebellions marked by the 40 years, right? So I'm going to give you an example one. I'm going to skip down to example one. And when it says, and then it says, Kadosh Barnea, right? Concerning the wilderness, Kadesh Barnea. Onkelos and many of the other sages teach that the places named in verse 1 and 2 are codes for the sins. As one of the sages named Ramban explains, it is unlikely that they are all descriptions, right? So some of them are just codes for the sins, right? Concerning the wilderness, shortly after leaving Egypt and the wilderness, what did the people do? They complained. Concerning the 𝗵𝗁𝗶, what did the people do at the 𝗵𝗁𝗶 when they was in a plain, right? In the plain and the 𝗵𝗁𝗶, they was seduced by the Midianite women that we read about in 𝗵𝗵𝗁 last week and a couple of weeks before that, when they was trying to get them into this unlawful marriages where they was trying to combine the Almighty with Peor, right? Opposite the Sea of Reeds, when they were between the Egyptians and the sea, and they complained, were there no graves in Egypt? Right, that comes from, and I'll give you the scripture where that comes from Exodus or Shemot 14:11. The other ones was from Shemot 16:1-3 and Bereshit 13:16. 𝗵𝗵 25:1-9. Right, then we got Bein Paran, between the pattern. This is where they sent the spies, right? Uvien 𝗃𝗶𝗃 and 𝗃𝗶𝗃𝗃 and Laban, right? It says both words refer to the complaints about the manna, right? 𝗃𝗶𝗃 can be rendered calumny,
And Laban can be rendered white, the color of the manna. So that was reminding about how they complaining about the manna. 𝗃𝗂𝗀𝗃𝗀𝗆, right? He's talking about Korach's rebellion that took place near Hazeroth, but it's also talk about when Miriam had slandered Moshe and was stricken, right? The 𝗃𝗄𝗃, and it's talking about the Israelites being blessed with abundance of gold when left Egypt, but they used the gift to make the golden calf, right? So it can go on. There's other stuff too, right? But I just want to touch on those different things and show you how intricate these guys, when they were studying, was looking at this, because you start thinking, these are the words Moshe addressed to all Yisrael across the Jordan in the wilderness on the Arva plain, right? It's like it's naming all these different areas and all these different 11 days traveling. It's trying to give you all this time frame, but he's saying at the beginning of the 11th day on the first month, beginning of the 40th year of the 11th month, right? So it tell you all this stuff, and it names all these different things that sort of, you know, when you talking to somebody and you reminding them about stuff, and you might say something, or you might talk about a song or something, or you might just bring up something that they did, and then they're like, oh yeah, and you and them will share that moment where y'all sharing this moment where it's like, oh, I got you, right? It's like when you real close with your family, y'all can talk about something, and y'all don't really want the world or everybody else to know what y'all talking about, so y'all can kind of look at each other and figure out what it is that you guys are talking about and get the answer from there, right? So it's sort of like that, where you can say something, almost like them game shows where the people say the one word and you instantly can't figure out what it is that they're talking about, right? So that's what the sages are saying. And it's way before any of that stuff, all that stuff, TV stuff we doing now, this way before all of that. They saying just by him naming these areas, it was reminding them. It was bringing back to their remembrance what happened, what took place in those areas, right? That's why he called it a veiled rebuke. I'm rebuking you, but I'm not doing it openly. And then after all that, Moshe begins to talk to them in first person, right? He says, where was that? Verse beginning 40 year Moshe, and I'm gonna say, all right. So then it lets us know Moshe began to elucidate this Torah as follows. So now it's let us know this now. Everything at the verse 5 is Moshe's words in his own words about what happened. Right? Yahweh Eloheinu deber aleinu b'karav lamor rav lakam shavat b'har zahav. Right? Yahweh our Elohim. Right? I'm not saying Yahweh their Elohim. You're that first person. And he's including himself in this. Yahweh our Elohim addressed us at Korev, saying, enough of your living at this mountain. So he's now telling us word for word what the Almighty said to him. We're not hearing it third person, we hearing it from the person's mouth themselves, right? Turn and travel yourselves and arrive at the 𝗪𝗿𝗄𝗃, and all his neighbors on the plain of the mountain, and the lowland, and in the Negev, and on the sea coast, and the land of the Canaanites and Lebanon. Go up to the great river, the river Euphrates. See, I have set before you, come and inherit the land that Yahweh swore. So then he says, he tells him what he told him. Then now he's still talking. He says, see, I, it's still Moshe talking in first person. See, I have set before you the land that Yahweh swore to your forefathers, to Abraham, Yitzhak, Yaakov, to give them and their descendants after them. I said to you at that time, I cannot carry you by myself, right? Yahweh, your Elohim, has multiplied you, and you are today as numerous as the stars of heaven. Yahweh Elohim of your forefathers will add to you 1,000-fold and will bless you as he spoke to you. How can I carry alone your troublesomeness, your burdens, and your contentiousness? Provide yourselves men, wise and understanding are known to your tribes, and I will designate them your leaders. So he's telling all this. He tells us how they got the leaders, how he the one who helped establish the leaders. He wasn't trying to tyrant over them and everything. He said, I can't do this by myself. I took the leaders of your tribes, men wise and renowned, and designated them leaders over you, masters of thousands, masters of the hundreds, masters of 50s, masters of 10s, and court officers for your tribe. I commanded your judges at that time to say. So now you probably noticing it more. When you probably first read, you probably didn't notice it, right? You probably just read it like any other book, but now you probably noticing it. Moshe is saying, I did this, I did that, such and such, such and such. He's going to break down all the stuff he did, and he's going to say, and you're going to do this, and you're going to do that. Moshe is talking for himself. So this is almost like in court, was a court and everybody testified of what they said the defendant did, and they said, oh, the defendant did this, the defendant did that, right? And they tell you all this stuff that they feel like the defendant did, and you still not sure if this testimony they saying about this defendant is true or not. And then the defendant themselves get on the stand, and now they give their testimony themselves. They're now saying, I did this, I did that, this happened. They clarified everything. All the stuff we've been reading about building up, he's now sitting on the stand himself, clarifying everything that took place. Everything that took place. Now, this book is also known amongst the sages as Mishneh Torah, or the second Torah. The reason why is because this whole book, Moshe is going to be he's going to go over everything he already said, the laws that he already said. He's going to go over those laws. He's going to explain more into those laws than what was said in the previous book, where he's going to give you firsthand account about things concerning those laws, right? He's going to go over all these specific things that he feels like you need to go over, and then he's going to even tell us what's going to happen to us if we don't keep this Torah. How you going to go in exile, how you going to lose everything. But then he says, one day you're going to come back to yourself. One day you're going to come back and you're going to remember, and you're going to turn and begin to keep this Torah. And then the Almighty will redeem you from all the lands of your captivity. May that day come soon. Hallelujah. So, just wanted to point that out with y'all. My time is truly up. See how fast that was? But it's just meant to be a vitamin to motivate you. So now, you should be motivated to read Devarim so you can see with new eyes, like Moshe saying this about himself. He said this is what he did. I'm not reading somebody else saying Moshe did this, Moshe did that. I'm reading Moshe himself saying this is what I did. This is what I said. This is why I said it. He's explaining himself. In the other accounts where the situation had with Moshe, he was told he wasn't going to go into the land. Some people might say, well, why Moshe ain't pray and ask the Father to forgive him? He asked the Father to forgive the Israelites all those times. Why he didn't do that right here? Well, guess what? He tells you, I was doing it. And I did it so much that the Almighty said, enough. That's in this book. That's in this passage. Right? So I just want to motivate you so you can see that Moshe was a real person with real issues, going through real things. Sometimes we put the biblical figures up as heroes that you can't do no wrong. You see Moshe where he talks about his downfall. He talks about what he tried to do to redeem it and get it right. Moshe talks about all those things. So hopefully that was enough to get you, to motivate you to want to study this passage even more. So much more things I really want to get into. But unfortunately, I cannot. But what I can do is we got our artist of the week, Sister Nialand. She got a song, a beautiful song. I love this song. Still got your other songs coming, but I love this song. So when I seen this song was next on my rotation, I said, I love this song. We got to hear this real quick. It's a song where she's almost on this thing where you know how you do something and you think, but what if I would have did this? Or what about that? Or what about this? Or what about this? Right? And you got all these doubts and so forth, and it's about overcoming doubts and all that. So hopefully you guys like it. Our artist of the week, Nialand or Nialand.
You never come through, and I am forever alone. As every possible negative goes through my mind, it's stopping me from believing what I know is mine. Oh, if I could get me out my way, I think I'll be fine. 'Cause really, like, well, what if I fly? What if I soar? What if I rise and score? What if I be? What if I'm me? And it works out beautifully. What if I fly? What if I soar? What if I rise and score? What if I be? What if I'm me? And it works out beautifully. What if I?
Hey, Shabbat Shalom, Shabbat Shalom, Shabbat Shalom. So thank you everybody again for being on the show. I want to appreciate all of you for all that you've done. Thank you for tuning in again. If this is your first time seeing this channel, you like it, please subscribe. And just get the word out. We trying to build up our community. It's a lot of stuff happening, people. A lot of stuff happening. Hey. Welcome, 𝗃𝗀𝗁𝗃𝗀𝗁. So there's a lot of stuff happening, people. And like right now we're studying prophecy right now in our Bible study class. So that might be another incentive for you guys to check it out. Again, everything is right in those links that Sister Heart for Serving, our moderator, has placed up there. So please check those things out. And hopefully this inspired you to want to know more about the Torah, right? To study it more. Because that's the whole point, right? Because that's, if you could just understand, I can't even explain it. It's like the Matrix, and it's like it opens up to you and you just see everything. Trust me, the more you get into it, I've told people you gotta live the Torah. They like, I read the Bible, but I said, I ain't talking about read. I said, live it. Not just read it and study it, but when you start living it and putting it in your life, changes everything. Everything. But with that being said and done, hopefully you guys got something out of this. And just want to wish you a happy and great Sabbath today. Shabbat Shalom.
Adonai.